World number one Blitz player Hikaru Nakamura takes on Vidit Gujrathi. And we are off. Nakamura starts off with the flexible English e5, d3. This has been Nakamura's strategy in this tournament, to just play openings which give him fresh positions, not to worry about theory. Knight to c6. And now what does Naka do? Is he going to expand with b4? Takes a small think, and yes he does, gaining space on the queen side. With it, using the central strategy, playing in the center, this is a reverse Sicilian now that we are witnessing on the board. Knight f3, the idea is to push with b5 and win the pawn on e5. So black has to be slightly careful here how to continue. One idea is to play f6 to bolster the pawn. The other one is to put the bishop on d6. And you can see that Nakamura's opening strategy has somehow worked out, because he has made Vidit to think. Vidit does go bishop d6. And although the position is around equal, Hikaru gets some time edge. And that's really quite important in Blitz. e4, hitting the knight, forcing it to move back. The knight can go to many places. It can go to b6, e7. It goes to e7. Black has a flexible position, while white is definitely angling for the d4 break at the right time. a6 played just so that b5 is not possible. Knight to d2. The knight is coming to c4. Castles by Vidit. It feels like Sveshnikov but with white. Knight to c4, and very quickly played knight g6. Hikaru just adjusts his knight there and plays g3. Very interesting, he stops the knight from coming to f4 and also plans to develop the bishop on g2. Now Vidit does have some lead in development, and so he goes b5 and dares Hikaru to take the bishop on d6. Well, Nakamura declines, goes knight e3, a5, quickly played, ba, and now rook a5 with the pressure on a3 pawn would be a good idea. Queen e7 also possible later on, and a lot of pressure there. But Vidit takes with the knight, not a bad idea. He also would want to go c5, knight c6, knight d4, and that's also a viable plan in such a position. Vidit has played this opening pretty well and has at least got equality with black. Hikaru goes bishop to g2, and now c5. Now the d3 pawn is a permanently backward pawn. You cannot push, but Hikaru, instead of castling, goes h4, and this is modern chess at its best. Your king is in the center, but you don't care. Now Vidit creates a square for his knight there, but Hikaru pushes it. Knight f8 pushes h6, g6. So within 3 moves, the pawn has moved from h2 to h6, and now white castles. Notice that this pawn can be both a strength and a weakness. But modern chess has understood that h6 more often than not becomes a strength than weakness. This is very important to understand. Alpha Zero has played many such games which has improved the human understanding of pushing the h-pawn. But for now, Vidit says, I don't understand this so well. I'm going to just play centrally. The d4 square is weak. My pieces are well positioned. I can develop my bishop on b7. Knight can come back to c6 to d4. So I don't see why this is such a big problem. He goes rook f8, just keeping an eye on the f6 point. For black also, it's very difficult to make progress with f5 or something, because the bishop on b2 is very strong. And now look at this subtle move. The rook is looking at b5, and in future can become a weakness there. Knight c6. With it just bringing all his pieces to good squares. Knight comes back. So Hikaru's idea with knight h2 did not really work out with knight g4. He comes back to f3. And with it, now can he jump to d4? But then maybe b5 would hang later. So he goes king h8. Ooh, slightly dangerous. Yes, he comes out of all these checks, but he is in the line of this bishop. Bishop h3. Bishop pops out here. Keeps an eye on the knight. Rook b8. A good move by Vidit. Defending the b5 pawn. Yes, he gave up the control of the a file, but defending b5 is important. King h2, both players down to nearly a minute on the clock. Rook f7, and you can see how they are just making little moves, not disturbing the balance in the position. Black is slightly better now. f5 could be an idea, but you don't want to disturb status quo here. And with it goes knight to c7, offering a trade of bishops and also trying to evict the strong knight on d5. What does Hikaru do now? Does he exchange? Yes, he takes on c8, queen c8, and goes queen to b3. Notice how this queen is angling at the rook on f7. A very good idea now is to take on d5, and maybe after queen d5 just move the rook away or just move the queen, and the position is roundabout even. But look at Vidit, he's burning time here, and this is the critical moment of the game, because although the position is even, Vidit has lost a lot of time. Oh, he's got attracted by this tactical shot here, where after dc bc the queen will be attacked, and if the queen takes the pawn, the rook will be hanging. Whoa, what a nice tactic. But look at this variation, dc bc. Yes, Nakamura takes it, he takes the challenge, he takes here, and now Vidit can pick up the rook for free. But there is knight c3 hitting the rook and f7. No, Nakamura doesn't see it. He does not play knight c3. He plays queen takes c6, and now Vidit is better. Clearly, he's doing well. But now he can take on f6, it seems. Or first knight d2. The f6 pawn is soft. But Hikaru goes back queen c2. Rook comes back to b8. Vidit is better. Knight must be chopped off on d5. Is he going to do that? Yes, he does. Black is an exchange up. Yes, white has compensation, and don't forget this pawn on h6. Queen g4, interesting move. That was a very nice move. In fact, queen c7 was the best move for black, but queen g4 played. King g2 by Hikaru. Bishop f8, and now a4. Vidit has to press, but look at his time, 15 seconds. No, he blunders big time, and his back rank is weak. Now you can see the rook, the queen joining in, the bishop coming out, and the pawn on h6 create a mating net like no other. And with this, Hikaru is clearly better with just one move, giving up the last rank. Everything is now in white's control. How does Hikaru finish this off? Well, it's not so simple, but he just needs to play bishop a3. He does it. Queen takes e4 and finds queen c8. Another powerful move. Now the rook is hanging. If the rook moves, the bishop is hanging. And Vidit, out of nowhere, has landed up in a very difficult position. Takes on b4. Queen takes b4. And how do you finish it off? Because for now, it looks defended. He goes queen c6 to take control of this diagonal. g4, knight comes out to h4, and queen b7 was important. No, f5 is bad, knight g6 is winning, hg6, queen g6, but Hikaru misses it, plays queen d5, Vidit should fight queen b7, no, he plays this, and Nakamura simply chops it off, and with no time on the clock, Nakamura is winning. He adjusts the pawn, he's threatening knight d6, and he plays it. His rook, the rook is now pinned, queen takes f7, and Hikaru wins. Vidit was doing very well in the position, but Hikaru was very quick to spot all the tactics, and he's discussing with Vidit what he did wrong.